Hey everyone, this is Bridget, and today we're going to be talking about how to do a plant-based diet right. How to not make the mistakes that vegans make and have certain deficiencies or lose lots of weight or have these issues, because there's these big extremes going on in the diet world where it's like, I'm going from vegan to carnivore and everyone's going in all different directions. And so it's like, how do we just be healthy and how do we be balanced in that? So I wanted to give you some of my tips on how to do it in this particular way. And even if you're not vegan, that's fine. There's going to be many different helpful tips in this video for you. So I've been over 99% plant-based for over 7 years. And the 1% is when someone just sticks butter in your food and you're like, that's butter, you know? And those mistakes when you couldn't help it. Anyways, so I've been doing this for quite a long time, and I've gone through my own journey of ups and downs in weight or feeling like certain deficiencies or different things like that. So I wanted to go through some of the understandings on a conceptual level of what we want to do in this realm to really thrive. So the first thing to note is that a vegan diet does not mean that it's a healthy diet. Like those two things don't necessarily meet. And this is what I see a lot is like, they'll be like, it's vegan. And I'm like, well, is it organic? It's like, no. It's vegan? It's like, well, it's full of soy and gluten, you know? So one of the things that happens is we just don't know how to maybe do it right. And I feel like that's where a lot of people get tripped up and a lot of deficiencies happen, or certain things over time, bloating, these kinds of problems happen because we just don't know how to feed ourselves. And that's not your fault, it's not my fault. We're just never taught, right? You know, like most of us grew up on macaroni and cheese and God knows what. And so then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now feed yourself. I don't know how, you know? And so one of the places to start is by understanding you, understanding your body from an energetic level. So, you know, like, okay, what feels good to me? But that can be a little bit tricky because we've got a lot of things going on so that whole kind of spiritual idea of like, I'm just gonna eat what feels good to my body. That is kind of bullshit most of the time in the beginning, because what we crave is gluten or is sugar, or we have parasites that are craving certain things. So there's these imbalances that are actually having those body impulse cravings. And sometimes it takes time to balance those out. And once you get more balanced out in your diet, then you can actually use your body as a mechanism. And you can all of a sudden be like, I need that beet, or I'm craving like spirulina like crazy. You know, you'll have these actually healthy cravings. So that's one of the ways to know if your body is actually like saying something that it wants versus like a parasite craving chocolate cake. You get what I mean? So that's one thing to understand. So if we set that aside just for a minute, because the body intelligence is very important, but we have to incorporate such things as testing, right? This is something that's really helpful. So getting your allergy panel done and understanding what you're allergic to. This doesn't matter what diet you're on. A lot of people are allergic to a lot of things, and this creates inflammation, this creates brain fog, it creates all kinds of things that are lowering our vibration and are taxing the body's immune system so it can't run at its optimal function. So the question being is like, what are you allergic to, you know? And some of these things we actually know, but we just maybe don't want to admit, or we don't want to give up. Or in some cases it's like, oh, I just had that one, reaction, when I was a kid, and it's like, yeah, that means that it's probably still there, So some of the classic allergies, I mean, there's actually a lot, because sometimes it's quality based, so sometimes it's because of the pesticides and how it's grown. So that it might not be the actual food, it might be the way that what you're eating is grown. So such things as like nuts, like sometimes it might be the quality, or it might be that you're not soaking and sprouting them, those kinds of things. So it's also good to understand at that level. But just to begin, understanding where your allergies are at. And so most people are allergic to gluten, and lots of people are lactose, intolerant. So some of these things, just like looking at those and really being honest, and then finding the alternatives. And that's what I really want to get into here in coming months, and upcoming retreat and courses that I'm doing on this food stuff is like, well, then what do I eat, right? That becomes the question. It's like, okay, you cut out meat, you cut out dairy or whatever you're cutting out, and it's like you cut out gluten. What am I supposed to eat? And I'm here to tell you there's a lot to eat. And you can eat a lot of it. It's delicious and wonderful. And so I want to introduce this world of wonder to you. So, allergies. And then the other testing that you can do is to get a blood panel so that you understand what nutrients you're deficient in or you're low on, so that you can be preventative about it rather than all of a sudden having your hair fall out or having anemia or certain things like that. And I have to note that this isn't just for like a plant-based diet that this happens. It might happen more rapidly or something, but a lot of people have these deficiencies across the board. So like B12, for instance, vitamin D, these kinds of things that most people get from animal products. You can still have those deficiencies. And so this brings me to the point of cleaning out the body so that it can actually absorb the nutrients, because our bodies are quite toxic, and so the detoxification process is very important. Such things as going on a cleanse in spring here, lots of green juices, working on the liver, using bentonite clay, those kinds of things. We'll get into more into other videos, but I just wanted to touch on the reason why there isn't absorption of the nutrients that are needed, and then also there's so much inflammation happening that we can't get what we actually need. And this is what happened to me at the beginning of my journey. I remember this was like 7 years ago. I think I was plant-based for maybe like a year. I've been plant-based for a while. And I had we were staying at these people's house and they had all these supplements. So I made this like super nutrient dense supplement smoothie, and I could not even intake it. It was too much. It was just too much. It literally had too many nutrients in it, and my body could not absorb them. So it was kind of pointless, right? And now I'm at a point where my body's cleaned out enough, and I don't have these cravings or these other weird things, that I totally can absorb those nutrients very easily, and I can feel that shift in my body. So in the beginning, we're just cleaning out, we're just clearing out, and so being gentle with yourself, and thus, in that case, supplementing what you might need to make sure that you're getting those nutrients that you need. So some of the common ones being B12, right? B12, we've heard about that. You can get it in lots of different forms. You can get it through spirulina, and you can get it through foods. You can get it through certain kinds of nutritional yeast in a healthy way. So you can get B12 and supplement it, or you can take in those things. So just kind of note what you might be lacking. You can go look at kind of like the symptomology of those things you might be lacking, like an iron one, the low energy and kind of the pale face and that anemic kind of energy. It's kind of easy to see. And so kind of look through the top ones, and I'll put a link to the kind of top deficiencies that you can have, and see if you fit into any of those categories with how your energy is. But I would just go get a test so that it's like clean and clear and you can work towards those things. But clearing yourself out so you can actually absorb it is going to be really key. Now, going back to what I said about not all vegan diets are healthy, I see a lot of people and they're just not getting the nutrients they need. They're not getting the diversity. They're not getting those rich, deep, leafy greens and like algae and seaweeds and fats, that they might be needing to really get what they need. Other things that can be deficiencies such as omega-3, chia seeds, right? But chia seeds ground. I see these Instagrammers like pouring chia seeds onto their smoothies to make it pretty, not absorbable at all, and actually hurts the digestive tract. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grind them down so that you can access them, and then actually soak them or blend them into your smoothie. So that's a really good way to get your omega-3s, as well as marine phytoplankton, which is amazing as well. Fishy, but still good. So there's many different ways, and so just kind of going through these things. Vitamin D is another huge one for all people. It's not just for plant-based people, and some of the reason is that we're just not getting enough sun during the summer. This is because of chemtrails and certain things like that, but we're just not out there. And then also some of the absorption thing, again with the vitamin D that happens, is that we often shower after we're at the beach or out in the sun. And if we shower, well, one, in crap water, as well as, and then soap off, it actually washes off the vitamin D, because the vitamin D is fat soluble. And so you're actually washing off the vitamin D, and it takes 24 to 48 hours for it to actually absorb into the skin. So what you're going to want to do after you're in the sun is just maybe rinse in really good water your private parts and not wash your actual skin. So it's these kinds of things. Like, why aren't we taught this in health class, right? So you definitely want to be taking a vitamin D supplement, definitely during the winter and probably just all year, because we're just not getting enough, even if you're out in the sun. But that would be the best form to get it in, natural, right? And vitamin K supplement for your teeth. So just different things, just getting them in there, and such things as like iodine, which we need in our environment because it's very radiated. Getting in the seaweeds, it's just acquiring the taste for mermaid food, and leafy greens is like what we really need, and that's going to bring up all of your iron as well. So it's eating the things we don't really want to eat, but making them taste good. And there's ways to make them taste good, which I want to get into in future videos. And you don't have to ever feel like you're not getting what you want, like even in the category of like bread. It's like I came up with a grain-free vegan bread recipe, so there's certain things that we can get, and this is the solution that I want to bring to you, want to bring to the community, so that it's really clear and actually really fun, and it's really satiating and delicious. One of the big things that people talk about, which I left to the end because I almost forgot about it, is protein. Like, people talk about, how do you get your protein, and freaking out about this thing. It's really, really simple. Even if you can't do legumes, there's so many different protein sources that you can get. So that's never an excuse, and it's just a matter of doing the research, and I'll put together some things so that you guys can see what has a lot of protein so that you can get that in. And you really want to make sure to be getting it in, want to make sure to be getting enough calories, want to be sure to getting enough protein, because there were times where I wasn't, and I was just like this little frail thing, and I couldn't build muscle. And so that's a really good indicator if you're getting enough. If you can just like build muscle, you want to be able to be in that vital space where your body can grow and flourish and be vibrant. And so that's always a good sign if you can do that. I was not as well defined and in belly dance, and then I started taking a protein powder supplement, and then within like a couple weeks everyone was like, whoa, your muscle definition came in. And it's like my body needed it to go to that next level. And so it's a play, it takes time to kind of figure out, and it's definitely a dedication. You need to make most of your own food, or at least partner with other friends, and I'll come up with ways of creating support for you guys in that. But it can be really fun, and it's really nourishing, and it's really vibrant, and it will really raise your vibration. So I suggest continuing on the path, and it's just a matter of being more mindful and of what we need, and training ourselves, actually learning and educating yourself of what to eat and how to eat it, because we were never taught. And just to add real quick, is soy is no bueno, so that's not a solution in this game, because it's highly estrogenic, which we already have too much, and it imbalances thus the hormones in women and in men. So soy is kind of out. So I just wanted to touch on that too. But I hope that this has been helpful. There's so much here, but this is just kind of like a basis to rewire our brains so that we're not going like, oh, it's so healthy to be plant-based and vegan, and like having this kind of thing about it, because it's not. Like, it's actually, we have to, no matter what diet we have, figure out the best way to get all the nutrients and nutrition that our body needs to thrive. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, additional comments, additional things that have helped you, please share that in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell button so you get notifications every time I do new videos. Check me out on Instagram for daily updates, especially on Instagram story, and I will see you next Tuesday and Thursday with another video.